Jared Polin, photo.com, and welcome to RAWtalk episode number 177. It is currently 11:25 in the AM here on Friday, November 14th, 2025 in Kenya, out by Amboseli National Park. At home, it's currently 3:25 in the AM, thus why Stephen will not be on. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that Stephen was going to be on this week to talk, but I had to travel, obviously, to get out here for the safari, and Stephen is currently sleeping, and he will not be on this week, and it's a good thing I'm actually doing this. I have a few minutes between getting here in Amboseli and then lunch, and then getting back out onto another drive to see what kind of elephants we can find at the end of the day here, that I just felt I would get this done. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to go over the gear that I brought to Kenya. Going to talk about some other things that are going on. The worst best lens ever. We posted that video, and I've got your Q&As that you guys submitted a few weeks back. I was able to pull a bunch of them before I went away in the hopes that I would be able to do a RAWtalk before I left, but we were so damn busy. When I set out to travel for a couple weeks, Stephen likes to get a bunch of stuff done, right? We want to get a lot, and it's not just Stephen, I want to get a bunch of stuff done. We have to keep Dan busy with his editing, and Stephen has stuff to do, but there's also a lot that happened with the Canon R6 Mark III coming out. We had a RAW file review we wanted to record. We had a autofocus review we wanted to record as well, and then like the R6 Mark II versus the R6 Mark III versus the R5, all these different options. So we made probably six or seven videos. Six or seven. Oh, fuck, I didn't even mean that. We made probably 6 or 7 videos that will all go to be editing, but it was all good stuff. Oh, I did a review of the 25 to 200 Tamron. That is going to be edited. We're still waiting to put out, we just put out the 45-1.2 Canon video. We've got the 100 macro Sony that is done. So I got to Amboseli today. Now the trek to go from Philly to Nairobi, Kenya is a long trek. So it's 7 hours to London from Philly. And then from London, there's like a 3.5 hour layover. And then we fly to Nairobi, and it's another 9 hours. And it actually didn't feel that bad this time, partly because the lay flat seats make everything a hell of a lot easier up in business class. That doesn't hurt at all. And so I felt pretty good when I got here, and it wasn't that bad. I got a bunch of sleep on the planes, but I definitely dreamed my freaking ass off, which was always insane. I don't know if that's the malaria pills or just because a lot of times I was sleeping on my back, and that causes me to dream. In terms of gear, people question that I posted some of the gear that I was taking, and they're like, "You're taking 3 carry-ons?" No. I have 2 carry-on bags, and 1 is checked bag. I have the Think Tank 36L, whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. I really don't know what they call it, the Mindshift Gear one. So I've got that, and that is loaded with a bunch of stuff. And then I've got another Think Tank Glass Taxi or Glass Limo, and that has a whole bunch of gear. That has my 400-2.8 and a bunch of other stuff and accessories that I needed, because I always have to pack more than just what a normal photographer would pack. And the reason I have to pack more than what a normal photographer would pack is because I have to make content. I have to shoot video, which means I need a monitor sometimes, and I need extra batteries for that. And so I'm always traveling with a little bit more. Plus, all of the Insta360 gear. I have the Insta360 Go Ultra, I have the X5, and I have the Ace Pro 2. So I'm making a lot of content with all of that stuff. In terms of everyday camera gear for me out here, I've got 2 R1s. I've got the R6 Mark III. I've got 100 to 300, 400 2.8, 28 to 70 f2, which will get used sparingly, and a 10 to 20, which won't get used very much, but I wanted to have it out here. I also brought the Wide Lux. The Wide Lux is the film camera from the 80s that is good for taking pano shots. It's a fun little toy, and it's meant to shoot basically black and white behind the scenes. So I'll be using that out here, take a couple rolls of the crew and everybody hanging out. That's really what we're going for with that lens. So what do I have to do tonight? Oh, I've got a bunch of stuff to do tonight. which is I've got more episodes of the bowling show to watch and give my notes on. So what happens is I get sent the cuts. And I'm learning all these new terminologies too. There's rough cut, and then there's rough cut 2, and then there's fine cut, which they call FCs, and then there's the lock cut. The lock cut means that timing is all locked, and that any changes that need to be made can't change timing, and they have to be subtle. And so I watch the episodes along with other executive producers and other people at the network, which I'm not saying which network it's going to just yet. I will, when it's time, tell you where you'll be able to watch it and who decided to purchase it. But everybody sends in their notes, and the directors go ahead and try to do their best to make corrections where they're needed. I try to make corrections on story and fact. It has to be factually correct. We have to show things where if a bowler is a left-hander and throws off the left side of the lane, the next frame can't be a strike coming from the right side of the frame. It's got to be correct to bowling. So there's so much going on. I've watched the episodes a bunch of times because you have to watch every cut and make notes and send them in, and that's, that's what you have to do. So I've got I think there's going to be 5 episodes for the season. I think I have to watch a final cut or a fine cut of episode 5. I think an almost locked cut of episode 4. They locked cut episode 1. So I got to watch episode 1 because it's locked, and I got to make sure stuff is facts there to make sure everything is fine. I'm not the end-all be-all with what I say. Obviously, I can give my thoughts, and then at the end of the day, the directors are going to do what the directors are going to do, because they have to put together a show. And there's so much work that goes into it. And I can't wait to share the behind the scenes of it. I can't wait to share more information, who's involved, all the stories behind the scenes. I have a lot of stuff I want to do with it when we get the bowling show out into the world. And I can't wait to share it with you guys because I've been working on it for years. And hopefully it's just the start of, it's one season, and hopefully we get multiple seasons out of it. I mean, it would be great to get 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons out of it because I think it's going to resonate with people. I hope we get a second season based off of the first season, but you never know. We would need to start filming that come February or March or something along those lines. Yeah. Oh man, I'm tired. I'm starting to feel it right now because it was a later night. Oh yeah. We also got stopped coming out of the airport talking about cameras. They're like, "You filming?" I'm like, no, I'm taking pictures. They're like, why are the lenses so big? Because that's what it takes to get good pictures. For me, at least. So we were able to get through that, and it didn't end up being a problem. So what else is, let's see, how many, the other note I have for the bowling show is how many moving parts there are on the inside or the outside or whatever it is. There are so many people involved between lawyers and producers and just supervise, just so many things that have to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that if you have a song in there that you have the license to do it. It's so different than the YouTube world. It is beyond different what goes into that. I mean, when we make a YouTube video, we're like, yeah, we're going to go make a YouTube video. We make the video. We edit the video. We post the video. And if there's a content something in there, then YouTube takes a cut and gives the cut. It splits the cut between you and the creators. Totally different world between a major network and YouTube, even though YouTube gets a shit ton of eyeballs. So yeah, on to the best lens ever. I thought that was a really good title for the review of the Canon 45 1.2. It really is one of the best worst lenses that you'll ever see. And what I mean by the best worst lens is that it's a 1.2, and it's very rare to have a 1.2 that's $469. Let me just say it's completely rare to have a $469 1.2 lens. I say it's the worst because it's not the best quality in the world, but holy shit, does it absolutely get the job done and does it well for a lot of people. Not the fastest focusing. Yes, you're going to see purple fringing, and yes, you're going to see green fringing, but you're getting a 1-2. And the shots that I got with it, whether it was photographing in the kitchen with that chef and then delivering him the prints, it's not like he looked at it and was like, oh, I see this, what's this green stuff around this lamp that's very hard to see unless I pixel peep it. That's the point. It's about getting the shot. And if you could never afford a 51.2 for $2,600 or $2,700, and you can get a 45.1.2 for $469 to get into the 1-2 world, you're going to do fine with it. So that's why I called it the worst best lens ever, because I think it is the worst best lens ever, because it gets the job done. And, you guys can go watch it, leave some comments about what you think. But at the end of the day, a good photo is a good photo is a good photo, whether it's the greatest lens in the world or the shittiest lens in the world. If you got it correct and it resonates with people, then that is all that matters at the end of the day. Yes, I like using the best of the best with Honor Sir gear, but, if people don't know what they don't know, then it doesn't really matter. But it matters to me when I want to use the best gear. But I could still use the worst gear and get the best results out of it because I know what I'm doing. And that's what it comes down to as a creator and as a photographer, is knowing what you're doing and be able to react in situations that you could use any piece of gear and get good results. Okay. Q&A. I asked you guys for your questions and answers, and by answers, I give you the answers. You send your questions in. I haven't gotten to all to read them all because, like I said, we've been really busy leading up to heading out to Kenya, leaving Stephen at home to get that work done. So I'm going to go over the questions that I have here and give you my rapid fire critiques of it. And I don't know if there will be a Raw Talk next week. I really have no idea. I just decided to sit down right now because we have another hour until lunch, and I definitely want to get lunch, and I don't want to lay down, even though I'm tired. Okay. Andrew Young, white balance. Do I need color calibration? Gray cards. Getting color right, ? Monitor calibration. Printing. It never turns out the same on print as it looks on my screen. Help. So Data Color and the Spider, I didn't pick this because they're a sponsor. They'll be the sponsor of the Photo News Fix this week. It really depends on what you're doing, whether you need to have monitor calibration. I'm using a Mac, and generally speaking, these things come calibrated out of the factory, and I've found that my color on the screen of my MacBook Pro or my XDR Retina display is very damn close to what comes off of that Canon printer. The difference is you have to remember that your computer, your screen, is bright. So light's coming behind it. It's emitting, and it's through your image, whereas your prints don't have light on it. So sometimes I have to make my prints brighter. But you have to make sure on your computer that you do not have on the color shift, the night shift, which turns everything yellow. I find one of the best things that you could do is look at your screen, look at a print, and see the differences and see if it's brightness or if it's color. A lot of shittier displays on the PCs are not going to present as well as they are on the Macs. So calibration, I've found that when I've done calibration with those Spider X's in the past, I haven't liked the density that it ended up giving me. Now, if I needed to match things to my phone, to the screen, to other screens, to even more screens, then you would want to use one of those Data Color products, and you would match it from side to side, left to right, up to whatever. You would match it between, if Steven had a monitor calibrated to the same as me, and Dan and I. The problem is that 99% of the world isn't going to be calibrated. So you might have the best calibration in the world on your screen and your prints, but if someone else is looking at us on their screen and it looks like shit, there's really absolutely nothing you can do about it. I think the best thing you can do is try to match your print to your screen as best as possible. And honestly, be on a Mac, I really find them to be the best. Oh, and for brightness, I'm always 2 clicks down from the top. The brightest minus 2 clicks on the Mac, I find that is a good representation of what my final images are going to look like. Eric Stickna, how do you make money with your photography? For example, how do you monetize the amazing photographs? I do real estate and sports photography. I am hired. But if you were to take photos in a safari, how do you get a return on your time and financial investment? Well, I mean, you don't, generally speaking, The majority of the people doing that aren't going to see a large financial return of their investment for coming, but you also have to count the experience. What is your experience worth? Like, I'm not coming here because I want to take pictures and sell them. I'm coming here because it's a good group of people. It gives me a chance to test out some of this Insta360 gear. Oh, I forgot to mention I have the Canon R6 Mark III as well here because it just came out. Even though we did our preview of it, you know, I figured I'd throw it in the bag because you never know what you could get with it. It's going to be very difficult to make money with this stuff. Maybe you could sell it at a flea market when you get back or one of those street fairs. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe if you have a following online, you could absolutely sell some prints. It's just getting to that point where you can do it. But don't be dissuaded by the fact that you might not have a following. But understand and be realistic that not everybody is going to be able to sell images. I can't sell a ton of images. I've sold a bunch of my images for a couple of bucks here and there from Safari for people for art prints, but it's not my mainstay of income. So it is hard to market that and then try to turn a profit. But it's not really like financial investment. I mean, I get it, but the biggest rule of thumb is sometimes you need to do the things you don't want to do to afford the things you do. So sometimes you take jobs and shoots for things that you may not want to do, but they pay you well, like weddings, and they allow you to do the things that might not pay as well. So that is something to keep in mind. Leo Heino, Heino, Leo Heino, Hinyo, Leo Heino, sorry, I'm loopy. Is AI helpful in post-processing, like with removing objects or people, like they were never there to finish a photograph? I do find that doing wedding photos, even removing people and chairs, allowed me to give a better product by retouching clutter or reducing clutter. This is an interesting point. In the newest updated Lightroom, and even not even in the newest updated one, to remove things is incredible. The fact that it can just, you draw over the thing you want to get rid of and it makes it like it was never there and puts a cool background that matches for the most part, that is absolutely incredible. In my everyday work, I'm not going to personally use that. I'm not going to take something out of the image that was there because that's the image that I captured and that was there, and I'm not going to manipulate it to that extent. I think that becomes cheating. With that being said, sometimes you shoot the things you don't want to do to afford the things you do want to do, like weddings. And if it means a better picture in a wedding, who fucking cares? Like, I don't crop my work, but when I was shooting weddings, even though, yes, it's technically my work, if something needed to be cropped to fit into a square in a photo album, it was what it was. This is about the customer and the client, not about me and my not wanting to crop. When I do my personal work, I'm not cropping. You know, I don't want my stuff cropped, but when it came to weddings, I'm like, fuck it. Who really cares? Just get her done. Get it done and make it look better. And so if that's what you do, then absolutely do it. Dylan Brown. When shooting portraits outside, how do you choose where to position people to really make them pop? Do you always shoot in the shade, or do you go for a light or dark background? So it's interesting. Open shade is great. Like when I'm at the Phillies and I'm shooting in the dugout, I like it because it's a shaded area, even if it's super bright and sunny. So I'm going to get this even, beautiful lighting that might be bouncing off of the field, or it might be flowing into the dugout. But if you can shoot with God's softbox, which is a overcast day where the sun is out, except it's being blocked by the clouds, and it's filtering the light and making it soft, that is a great time to shoot. We like to do, like, what is open shade? I guess I call that open shade. Or when you're shooting outside and you're under a tree and it's great light, but just understand that the background is not going to be as balanced or as good. The one way that you can balance light if you're shooting out in the open is if you pop a flash and you basically fill in the face and you fill in the lighting. That is going to help you balance between the background and the foreground and make it more even. But if you're just using natural light, it's going to be much more difficult to shoot in the shade and expose there and expose for the really bright sunny day outside of that shaded area. So yeah, I mean, I look for the best light. Shooting at noon in bright sunlight out in the open is not going to give you great portraits unless you're able to pop a flash, a strobe, or you could put in there a reflector, and the reflector might be able to bounce some light back into your subjects. So that is something that you could consider as well. Captain Michael Henson Sr., what do you take in the field to download your images to free up your card space? Do you download to an online service or 2 hard drives? If so, which ones? Thanks, Jared, and stay safe on your trip. When I'm out here, I don't take anything out into the field to download images when I'm out shooting. I have multiple cards, so I shoot redundant stills. So card 1 and card 2, card slot 1, card slot 2 are getting redundant images. And when I get back to the room or wherever I'm at the end of the day, I will then dump my cards onto an external drive. I have ProGrade SSD. I've got an 8 terabyte ProGrade SSD. I have a 4 terabyte ProGrade SSD. I have a 2 terabyte thumb drive that they have, and I will make sure that I back up my images in at least 2 places and more than likely keep the card until I get home without reformatting it because I have extra cards. Cards are super inexpensive today. The best thing to do is start with a fresh card, shoot with that card, back up, keep shooting on the card if you have plenty of space. Like I probably will get, I don't know, 15, 16,000 images on from an R1 on a card, especially a 512 card, because you can get, like, the files are like 25 megs each to 30, depending on different factors. So I don't download things in the field. Any of those field, I mean, I know Vanessa Joy promotes Lexar's field thing, which she does when she's doing weddings. Like, I get it. But now that we have redundant cards, maybe if you have free time, I would just be exporting to a computer. Or the reason she uses that Lexar thing is because it has a battery and it allows her to do it on the go without having to set up a computer. So I guess it's good in some ways, and in other ways it's just like, maybe it's too much and it's unnecessary, but having an extra backup is always a good thing. And here's a rule of thumb for weddings. 2 wedding photographers, like if you have your assistant and you travel separately, make sure you both have a copy of the wedding in case something happens to one of you. Not that it would matter if something happened to you, because you wouldn't even know about it. Not a big deal. But yeah, I don't offload anything during the day. It's during the time I'm out shooting. It's when I come back for lunch, I still won't offload. It's at the end of the day, I like to sit down and organize everything. Robert Harvey, what's your take on adapting vintage glass to a modern mirrorless camera? What type of image quality would you get adapting an FD300 2.8 to an R7? Shitty. That's what you would get, shitty. I do not believe in adapting vintage old glass and attempting to think you're going to get anything good out of it. Look, if you want to do it for fun because that's the glass that you have and that's what you want to do, then by all means, go for it. Do it. Like, fine. But don't expect, I mean, it's manual focus. You're kind of wasting away your camera that you bought. I don't believe in doing it. Those lenses are worthless at this point. So I would personally just stay away from it. And invest in even EF glass. I'd rather see you adapt older EF glass. It's going to be better and save the money there than trying to adapt the super old glass. I just don't think that makes any sense. So I personally wouldn't do that. John McGraw, as you've been transitioning in your career, how have your mentors changed to support where you want to go? I have stuck by your Peter McKinnon interview. I think it says struck, but I have struck by, I don't know, or maybe I was struck by your Peter McKinnon interview, how you're in a similar market segment, but by doing different things, and he's been entrepreneurial in a different way, and wondered about your mentorship. I don't have mentors. Should I say I don't have mentors? I guess I could say that I had mentors in the beginning. When I started photography at 13, 14 years old, the people at the camera store were my mentors. The people developing my film, who I thought, were cool because they worked at a camera store, which I realized wasn't really cool at the time, later on. But, this one guy, Matt Choi, was at Mid-City Camera, and he took me under his wing. He went to photo school. He was very good at what he did, and he kicked my ass about, I bought a 24-120 the day he wasn't there, and he forced me to return it. He's like, you don't want a variable aperture lens. You do not want that lens. Yes, it's a big zoom, but it's not quality. And he struck that into my head. And I know I get a lot of shit for talking about using the best of the best with honors, sir gear, but it stems from the fact that it makes the most sense. And it is the best thing to do. Nowadays, it's not that was late 90s. gear was getting better and better with lenses, but still not perfect. I mean, now with a 45-1.2, it's not perfect, but it's going to get the job done. But back in the day, Matt was basically one of my mentors because he worked at the camera store. So early on there were that. But then, I mean, there's always people contemporaries of mine that I have questions for. And but generally, my thing with mentors is like, I kind of think I know what their answer is going to be before I even ask the question. So I try to leave it with like, I'm not going to ask because I already know what they're going to say. Like, do it. They're going to be like, just do it. And so, yeah, I mean, I really think I have the answers to a lot of stuff, so I don't. I mean, that could be a very arrogant thing to say, but in my years of thinking about things to say to mentors, I think I'm on the right path. And I know people look up to me and ask questions, so I have no problem mentoring younger photographers and helping them. I just don't have a lot of mentors. I have peers that we might ask questions about. Maybe we'll talk business and just share info and be like, how do you do this? Or what do you do in this situation? Just to get an understanding of what other people do. So I really don't have mentors. Gar Fitzgerald, will there be a book, even a small one, of the 4x5 project? As of right now, I don't plan on doing any books. The 4x5 book could be interesting if I just keep it a regular size, right? If I made it, I wouldn't make it 4x5, but it would be like a square because there's horizontal and vertical and it's 4x5. Or maybe, oh, there's a guy shooting outside. What are you shooting? What are you shooting? What's this guy shooting? That looks like a Sony. It looks like a Sony. Oh, wait, is that our guy? Wait, is that a guy that what are you shooting? Hold on, let me yell at him. What are you shooting? What do you see? Anything good?
I'm just messing around with birds.
Oh, he's shooting birds, everybody. I'm talking to my podcast. He's shooting birds, everybody. I was just checking. Sony, right?
200, 600.
200 to 600 Sony. What body?
My A12.
A12. All right. He knows what he's doing. He's shooting birds outside of the room before we have lunch. It caught my attention that, oh boy, I just slammed the door. That one of the guys that's on the trip, he's out there shooting, just playing around, which is cool. I got distracted. So would there be a book 3, a 4x5 book? I mean, I would love to do a 4x5 book. I love my baseball stuff. I have to figure out what I'm allowed to do. It's still up in the air. I know I can make a book. I just don't want to piss off Major League Baseball and end up not getting passes to continue to do what I'm doing. And please understand, when I sell a book, it's not like it's going to be a money maker long term. The goal is to break even on the book or make a little bit of profit over time just to get something physical. It takes a lot of work to ship all this stuff. It's a big commitment. But yeah, stuff does look great when it's printed. I would like to do a gallery exhibit of my 4x5 stuff. I was talking to Canon about it. I was like, yes, it's 4x5 and no, it's not shot with Canon, but we can tie it in with printers. We can tie it in with the Canon Pro 1100, the ProGraph 1100. We can tie it in with the 4600. We can tie it in with they have printers called like Arizona and Colorado. These are massive. We're talking, they can print on the wallpaper and the wall stickers and make stuff that is like huge, and we're talking billboard size. And so that could be kind of fun to do a project like that, where I do a collaboration with them and showcase a project like that. But I guess I would love to do a book, but it's just so much work and time and effort involved in that. But Brandon Anderson, not really a question. Oh, really? But I've been listening to all of the old episodes. How about giving us an update on what Sam Green and Steven Sutter are up to these days? That's a good question. I honestly have no idea what Steven Sutter's up to these days. I know that he went and became a park ranger somewhere. So hopefully he's still on the job and didn't get fired or laid off. I haven't heard, I don't know where he is. Sam Green got married to a girl named Sam. Her name wasn't Green, but it's now Green. So it's Sam Green and Sam Green. Oh, geez, that is crazy. They live out by Pittsburgh, I believe. Sam was working at a coffee company, but I think he doing social media stuff. He was working with John Malecki, who is a woodworker guy. He left there to do the coffee thing and now went out on his own. He's doing some woodworking. Sam does a lot of running. I see that he does some trekking and 100-mile runs or ultra things. So yeah, he's staying good, staying in shape, you can follow me. I think it's Sam Green Maker. And he has a YouTube channel, he has his Instagram, and he's doing some woodworking stuff. And yeah, that's all I know about him. Joe, if you didn't ask about Joe, but I run into Joe at the Phillies games every once in a while. I believe Joe had a baby. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. Maybe it's a wife now, but yeah, he has a baby. So that's what I know. Okay, question. John Franco, how would photography help with dementia? So this came in from John, and I believe John says that they do have dementia. So I was thinking about this, and that's why I put the question here. How can photography help? Well, I think my photographs are my memories. They are triggers. So when I have a photo book wall and I look at those photos in those books, it instantly transforms me and takes me back into those times. They're good memories that should be embedded there. I don't know enough about dementia to know whether or not you can, which brain stuff gets lost and which stuff doesn't get lost. But I really think that if you have dementia, go photograph every day. Make a photographic montage of your entire day. I guess that's like that movie. What was that movie called? Was that Memento? Where the guy, was it Memento? Where every day he didn't remember, but he had to go leave himself notes and messages to try and figure something out. I think that was the movie. So maybe you just document every day of your life, and then at night you review the images, and maybe in the morning you review them, and hopefully you remember it, or maybe it brings something back. I don't know enough about it, really, to know if that makes any sense at all. But I do think having images on the wall and photo books and printing more prints certainly could help it helps my brain. Let's just say that. It helps, I could look at an image I took 20 some years ago and be transformed back to that moment because that image is unlocking something in my brain, something that it just brings out. And so maybe that is helpful. Maybe that is something that could work. Those are all the questions. Oh shit, they're not all the questions. Thankfully, there's more, not thankfully. I talk so much that I put myself to sleep. John Elrod, have you ever gone out with a specific lens, intent on using it for the whole day, and when you got out there, you discovered that lens is not that appropriate, or it's not the appropriate one? What do? Do you shoot with the inappropriate lens all day or borrow one from somebody else near you? Well, first off, you're never going to be able to borrow a lens from someone else's if they're on a shoot, because I'm not going to lend someone a lens that I might end up using during a shoot if it's a very important thing. I'm just curious, or do you possibly carry on a bag with all your 4 or 5 lens choices? It depends on what I'm doing, but this question is multifaceted. If you went out with the intent of using a specific lens and you just took one lens, then you use that one lens to the best of the ability. When I was at the Hanshin Tigers baseball game in Osaka, I had a 28-70 f2. I didn't have a 400-2.8. I didn't have a 70-200, but my intention was to focus on the stands and the fans and the story. And just having the 28-70 is what I decided to use. And it's the same as if you use a 50 to go to a sporting event and you're in the stands, or a wide angle, you have to figure out the best way to make that work. So you force yourself to make it work. But if it's an important shoot, I already said what I use here in Kenya. And so it's a matter of making sure you have the right tools for the job. So if I'm going on an everyday shoot, I know I'm going to have the 28-70. I may have a 10-20 in there if I want to go ultra wide. I really wish it was a 14-24 2.8 or a 12-24 or a 12-20 2.8. I would take that over that 10-20. I just want an optically better lens. Even though the 10-20 gets the job done, I would compromise, aperture or zoom range for wider aperture, even on the wider side, because I really think that the better glass is just so much better when you get into the 2.8s and the 1.8s and the 1.2s and the 1.4s. The glass is just so much better. I got sidetracked there. What was the question? The appropriate lens. I really got sidetracked there. I'm sorry, guys. I am frazzled. I am fritzed. When I go out to shoot, 28-70, I don't even take a 70-200 generally. I'm going to make sure maybe I have a portrait lens like an 85-1.2, but it all depends on what I'm doing, right? If it's a sporting event, I pre-visualize what I'm looking to capture. So even before I go out on the shoot, I'm thinking about what I'm going to take so I don't take the wrong lens. But there are times you get there and it is the wrong choice. So if you don't have anything else to switch to, you figure it out. You do the best you can with that one lens and you make it work. Michael Citringino. Hey, Jared, as a long follower and Jared, as a long follower and continue to find a significant inspiration from your work on YouTube channel, I become captivated with your content when you featured Lil. I assume very inspirational part of your life and channel. What inspires you today to keep the passion and drive that keeps you doing what you do? Don't want to be broke. Oh, that's my note. I don't want to be broke. I also need something to do all the time because I don't like sitting around doing nothing. So the moral of the story is I just think about what it would be like to have nothing and not be able to go out to dinner. And I don't want to be there again. I've been there. You know, in my 20s, I had no money. I literally had a couple bucks in my pocket. And I never went out to eat anything major. I would get the lunch special at Hong Kong Gourmet for $5.25. That was what I would do. And even back then, I ate the same stuff every day. But, you know, I like where I'm at, and I work my ass off to stay there and to benefit and beyond, so I don't have to worry about it. So I just keep on doing what inspires me today to keep the passion, not losing it. Not losing everything is what inspires me. Building, doing more, like more. Like I want to do more, but I also don't want to overdo things. I don't want to do more just to do more. Like if you can de-stress and get rid of certain things and still get a good job done, because sometimes like enough is enough. When is enough enough? Never. But you have to just also get your brain into the right place to realize that sometimes you just need to trade being happy or de-stressing for making more money, and it just might be better for you. Last question I have for you guys. Edward McMurdo. I have the R5, money aside. Would you moving to R6 would moving to the R6 III be a huge jump? I love the R5, but I'm missing out on great features. So this is interesting, and we have the video coming out, the R5 versus the R6 Mark III versus the R6 Mark II. The reason we put the R5 there is it's the same exact price as the R6 Mark II currently. And so there's also people that are with the R5 that are like, well, do I go to an R6 Mark III? Look, if money is no object, you jump up to the R5 Mark II. If the R5, but the question, and I put this on Instagram the other week, the question you need to ask yourself, are you being held back by the gear that you're using? If the gear you're using is holding you back, then it might be time to upgrade. But if your R5 isn't holding you back, then don't. But you do say that you are missing out on great features. Then if you feel that those features are going to benefit you and help you get things you otherwise would have missed, then by all means, 100% go for it. Right? An R6 Mark III is going to be fantastic from a still side and a video side. It's not a stack sensor like the R5 Mark II is, but I feel that the autofocus and the improvements that have been made since the R5 was originally announced means that the R6 Mark III is going to be a fantastic body. That's what I got to say about that. I have to go eat lunch, guys. I appreciate you guys listening to this. Sorry it's not the normal show. We just can't do that with all the work we've been doing at the moment. And with the travel, I'm not even going to try to get Steven on the line at the same time. We did do that the first time I was here 2 years ago in this one location, and it worked, but it was a little laggy. But right now, I'm getting this done because I'm getting it done. And I appreciate you guys listening. Hope you enjoy it. Episode 177. I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll be back at least at some point when I get home, but bear with us. Follow my Instagram stories, but bear with us. Right now, I do love RAWtalk, and it's not a priority while I'm traveling right now out here in Kenya. It's very difficult. Now, if a bunch of stuff happens and I want to give you a recap, then I will. But I've also done this for 2 other years prior, so you guys have already heard a lot of it. All right, guys, I'm tired. Thank you very much for listening. Jared, PolinFurnosphoto.com. Oh, the time? 12:04 in the PM in Kenya, 4:04 a.m. back in Philly. All right, guys, see ya. Bye.